Since the handshake principles returned into the country, they have been very quiet. Hezron says, wamenyamaza kama mtungi ya maji. And many Kenyans expected the meeting, which was to take place on Saturday, May 4th, at least to give us a hint of what next. But that major rally of the Kieleweke group was aborted. Yeah, it was cancelled at the 11th hour. So no such meeting took place. And so, have Kenyans been left in the dark? Have analysts been left in the dark? Yeah, because many of us don't seem even to know what to analyze. Actually, the answer to that question is no. There are other very interesting events that are unfolding rapidly. And obviously these events are a replacement of that major rally. They indicate a new game plan. Yeah, and we shall look into that very deeply in this video. But first, something else that is in my heart that I want to share with you. I'm not sure, whether any other political analyst in history has faced the situation that some of us are facing right now. And what situation is that? It is the situation where you're trying to analyze politics, and yet you have a very wary eye on what is happening spiritually. For example, every time I mention the year 2022, I wonder at the back of my mind, what kind of Kenya, actually what kind of planet will exist in the year 2022, going by the spiritual events that are unfolding right now. And in my view, the spiritual realm is being manifested very clearly, physically, especially in weather patterns, worldwide. Now, a few days ago, Cyclone Kenneth hit the coast in Mozambique. Now, Mozambique is not very far from Kenya. Indeed, it had earlier been predicted that that cyclone would affect areas of southern Tanzania. And as you know, Kenya is a neighbor to Tanzania. And indeed, authorities in Tanzania organized a massive, unprecedented in history, evacuation of the southern part of Tanzania, near the coast. An area that Tanzanians will know as Mtwara region. But as this massive cyclone headed towards the coast, suddenly, it took a sharp corner, which of course also reduced its force, and hit the coast of Mozambique. Again, you will remember that slightly over a month ago, the devastating cyclone Idai hit the same general coastal area, and it caused devastation in 3 southern African countries, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. 1,000 people were officially declared dead, 1,000, and thousands more are missing. Most of them will most probably end up dead. And then before we can even catch our breaths, Cyclone Fani hit India, and landed in an area known as Puri. The effects are still unfolding as I make this video, as are the effects of the Cyclone Kenneth, because our local meteorological experts have told us that that cyclone, indeed they told us very early, that that cyclone would affect Kenya in a major way, weather-wise. Indeed, the government has been very busy, warning people who live very close to certain coastal areas on the Kenyan coast to move to higher ground. Now, the latest weather forecast is rather scary, because the weatherman is predicting that there are certain areas of coast and central Kenya, including Kirinyaga, Embu, Meru, and Tharaka Nithi, that will receive rain of well over 30 millimeters, in a space of about 24 hours. Also to be affected, by this flood-causing rain will be areas in Nyanza, both Luo Nyanza and non-Luo Nyanza. Yes, that includes places like Kisii and so on, as well as Baringo and Trans Nzoia. All those areas, the weatherman warns, will receive over 30 millimeters of rain in the next few hours, and possibly in the next 5 days. What's going on? Well, I know that those who take in this channel are divided. Yeah, there are those who believe in Almighty God, and there are those who believe that stories associated to Almighty God are fairy tales, myths. Yeah? So let me just put it in a very simple way. Mwenye shamba amerudi. You know, you can live as a squatter in a piece of land for decades. And you can show off to people and tell them, look, this land has always belonged to our family. We have been here. My great-grandfather was here. And then you hear rumors that actually that land doesn't belong to your family. There's an owner. And you're told the owner is coming very soon. And you wait and the years pass by. This owner doesn't come back. Then suddenly, they return. And of course, the first item on the agenda is for the real owner to prove, or to present proof that that land actually belongs to them. Yeah, let me just leave it at that. Let the wise read what I have said. Let those who are keen read between the lines of what I have said. And I don't want to scare anybody, but all indications are mambo bado. Or if I was an American, I would say we ain't seen nothing yet. Anyway, let's go into the politics. Now, before we dive into very volatile Kenyan politics, allow me just a few minutes, to look across the border at our neighbors, Tanzania, where a vicious dictator masquerading as a man of the people, somebody who has come to save Tanzanians, has been reigning terror. And this vicious, very brutal dictator has been silent. He has been lying low for some time. And the reason is rather obvious. There's a presidential election slated for next year, 2020. And in my mind, and according to my analysis, I thought that they would lie low until after the elections of 2020. And when they're safely back inside Ikulu, in Dar es Salaam. But I was mistaken. I forgot a famous African proverb that says, a leopard can never shed its spots. It remains a leopard. And so even if it pretends for a little while that it's not a leopard, when a gazelle or some sumptuous meat passes near its eyes, it'll forget itself, and start behaving exactly how a leopard behaves when a gazelle is in the vicinity. Well, the latest is that a John Pombe Magufuli critic, and social media activist, Bwana Mudude Nyagali, was on Saturday kidnapped, by armed men wearing masks, in 2 cars. He was kidnapped at his shop in a place called Vwawa. This is in the Mbozi district, in the Songwe region, Tanzania. Now, incidentally, this is the same region where the president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli, has been pitching camp for quite a number of days now, talking to the people. Actually, any political analyst will tell you, campaigning for 2020. And if you for a minute doubted that it's government agents that have kidnapped this Tanzanian, then sample the following. The police in the region have refused to record the incident in the OB. That is our current spook, because his family and loved ones have gone there and they've said, this man has been taken by the police. And the police have said, no, we are not involved. And then they've also said, no, we are not going to record it as an incident. In other words, what the police are saying, that kidnapping never happened. And therefore, police are not investigating. Now, it's interesting because this individual has been kidnapped before by government agents. That happened in August 2016, when the world had no inkling, no idea of what was unfolding in Tanzania. In fact, at that time, people were still praising John Pombe Magufuli as being the right president for Tanzania, a man who's fighting corruption. Very good for the country. Now, this brave Tanzanian patriot, Mdude Nyagali, recorded exactly what had happened. Yeah, and he said the reason why he was kidnapped and tortured was because he insulted the president. In Tanzania, if you criticize the president, no matter how constructively, what you're doing is that you're insulting the president. Because I suppose the president is a god. Yeah, God is the only person who cannot be questioned. But now Tanzanians have another god, small g, yeah, who cannot be questioned. He knows everything. Yeah, and therefore you either shut up, yeah, or you're going to face his wrath. Even God Almighty does not behave like that. But this God in Tanzania is behaving precisely like that. But fortunately, this is not 2016. Yeah, and the world is keeping a very close eye on what is unfolding in Tanzania. Now, the latest report from insiders, yeah, you know Tanzania is a country very close to my heart, is that he's on his way to Dar es Salaam, yeah, where these state agents are based. Now, that is 800 kilometers, over 800 kilometers away from where he was kidnapped. You see, Tanzania is a vast, very huge country. Now, according to my sources, there's only one of two things that can happen here. Yeah, he'll either be killed and vanish, yeah, his body will never be found, or he will make an appearance in court with trumped up charges. We of course pray that God Almighty will step in, yeah, and preserve the life of this precious soul. And in my view, this incident is more than puzzling, because John Pombe Magufuli is popular in the rural areas, where people have never seen medicine in their local government clinic. Now all of a sudden there's medicine. Therefore the president is popular. And so I'm wondering what kind of blunder this is. Yeah, because you want to keep the people in the rural areas in the dark. But when you go and you kidnap one of them, you will make them sit up, yeah, and take a second look at candidate John Pombe Magufuli for president re-election 2020, which is not what one would want to do. At least if I was in their shoes, that is the last thing I'd do. Now I know Kenyans have been very impatient, so on to Kenyan politics. Now, one of the principles of the handshake, Raila Odinga, on returning to the country, held several meetings, yeah, with his close allies. Obviously, the agenda of these meetings was for him to point out the way forward. Now, these people who were involved in those meetings have been silent. They have not told us anything. However, we have seen some action. And this action is unfolding in Raila Odinga's stronghold in Luo Nyanza, where the ODM Director of Political Affairs, who is also the Gunya Member of Parliament, Opio Wandai, is leading a drive to consolidate the unity of ODM in the region. So what is happening is that members of parliament who have left ODM and have been elected in independent tickets are being approached. Others who have been opposed to ODM are also being approached. The whole idea is for Luo Nyanza to speak in one voice. Now hold on to that thought for a minute. Something else is also happening in Western Kenya, where it is being announced that a brand new group will be launched soon, to be led by a man called Musalia Mudavadi. And the name of that group, which is going to operate countrywide, is Team Komboa Kenya. Now, the super interesting thing I want you to take careful note of is what this group is saying, this brand new group set to be launched soon. They're saying they do not belong to Team Tangatanga. Neither do they belong in Team Kieleweke. They belong to the long-suffering ordinary Kenyan. Now, that's a very interesting phrase that I guarantee you're going to be hearing a lot in the next few days and weeks. Guaranteed. Because already it has been heard somewhere else. Now, a man called Buzeki, who is a very close ally of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, has announced very clearly and very loudly that he has left, he has abandoned, he has ceased to be a member of the Tangatanga team. And he has also made it very clear that he's not leaving Tangatanga to join their rivals, the handshake team, Team Kieleweke. No, he said he's independent, and he's going to look into the good of the people of the Rift Valley. Is going to fight for the rights of the long-suffering people of the Rift Valley. Now, on May Day, that's Wednesday, Buzeki, his real names are of course Zedekiah Bundotich Kiprop, but people call him by his initials, Buzeki. Buzeki had a very interesting meeting at a hotel in Nairobi. And this meeting was attended by leaders from the Rift Valley opposed to Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, with a very interesting addition. And that addition is former Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, the owner of a party called Chama cha Mashinani, CCM. And whispers are emerging that one of the major agendas in this meeting was how best to revive CCM, Chama cha Mashinani, within the Rift Valley, so that it has wider support. Now, there's something I want us to understand very clearly before we even go any further. Buzeki leaving the Ruto camp is very major, extremely major, and it has far-reaching political implications. Let me explain. Despite many denials, it was widely believed that Buzeki was DP Ruto's candidate for the governorship of Uasin Gishu, which of course is the turf of one person called Jackson Mandago. Now, Bwana Mandago, whatever you think about him, is one of the craftiest politicians I've ever known in Kenya. So he managed to play his cards very well, and that is why he's still governor of Uasin Gishu. He used every trick in the book, dirty and clean, including threatening the mighty Jubilee that they would vote for NASA, and going beyond that and supporting NASA candidates in Uasin Gishu. And of course NASA returned the favor, and they announced that Buzeki was their favored candidate for the governorship of Uasin Gishu. Now, after all that drama, you can be sure of one thing: Mandago is still seething with rage. He has never forgiven DP Ruto, and he will never forgive him. Now, Governor Mandago is serving his last term. Constitutionally, he cannot vie again for the governorship of Uasin Gishu. And so, everybody is now trying to think of the next governor of Uasin Gishu. And you can be sure that Governor Mandago is going to throw his weight behind a candidate who is not aligned, who has nothing to do with DP Ruto. That one you can take to the bank. Now, this is a classic Raila Odinga move, or a classic Raila Odinga play in politics. Go deep into the local politics and turn somebody who has been against you into your camp by starting with the personal interests of that person. Now I can see Buzeki vying for governorship in Uasin Gishu in 2022. Now the Nandi community are the majority in the Kalenjin tribe. And so what is happening here, these are the first steps at an attempt to lead a vast migration of the Nandi community away from the DP Ruto camp. Now that is so important that I have to repeat it. These are the initial steps of a major migration of the Nandi community, the most populous community within the Kalenjin, away from the DP Ruto camp, which in effect would take away a huge chunk of votes away from DP Ruto in the Rift Valley. Because make no mistake about it, Governor Jackson Mandago is king of the Nandi community. What he advises the Nandi community to do, they will do almost to a man. And so far, Mandago has been doing what he does best. He has been playing to both galleries. He has been showing support for the DP Ruto camp, and he has also been showing support for the handshake team. And I guess he will continue to do the same. However, on the ground, the ground has shifted very dramatically. And Buzeki, for all intents and purposes, is going to be Mandago's man to take over the governorship in 2022 when he leaves office. That is very major. Now, as I leave you confused, And some of you arguing and saying, Chris, no, that can never happen. Yeah. As we continue debating on that, let's just sum this up. Yeah, and try and see what the game plan of the handshake team is. It seems that the handshake brigade wants to move away, yeah, from the confrontation of the DP Ruto camp versus the Keleweke camp. They want to move completely away from that. And they want to create a new formation that will reflect the will of the people. Yeah, and this new grouping will include people like Team Komboa Kenya, led by Musalia Mudavadi. It will include Buzeki's new outfit, which is trying to revive and strengthen Chama cha Mashinani. And it will also include Isaac Ruto, yeah, the founder and the owner of Chama cha Mashinani. And it will also include new, very solid support from a new united Luo Nyanza. Yeah. And that initiative, of course, is being engineered by the ODM party. Yeah, the party which is dominant in that region. The whole idea will be to completely defeat the DP Ruto camp without mentioning the DP Ruto camp. In other words, the ground rules have been changed. Yeah, and now it is the people talking. It is not the Keleweke group talking against the DP Ruto camp. No, it is a new grouping of the people of Kenya rising and actually talking. I think that move is very smart because it is riding on a wave that is building up in Kenya. Yeah, of the local, long-suffering people of Kenya saying, no, we have had enough with these politicians. We don't want to hear about DP Ruto camp. We don't want to hear about Keleweke group. We want to hear about what has been done for us. We want to hear that all those major corruption leaders are behind bars. We don't want to hear anything else. You know, when you ride on a wave, you pick momentum very fast because you're using the momentum of other people, as opposed to you trying to build up your own wave from scratch, which is very hard work. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. I'm sure we're all eagerly waiting to see what the response from the DP Ruto camp will be. Because mark my words, there'll definitely be a response. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.